Hello friends, and welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications because we're covering one of the most critical environmental stories of our time. Today, we're diving deep into a crisis that's unfolding across Europe right now. And trust me, this is something that affects every single one of us, no matter where you live in the world. So stick around as we break down what's happening, why it matters, and what we can do about it. Right now, as we speak, Europe is experiencing temperatures that are shattering records that scientists thought wouldn't be broken for decades. We're talking about heat so intense that it's literally changing the landscape, destroying ecosystems, and, tragically, claiming lives. This isn't some distant future scenario we're debating in classrooms anymore. This is happening today, this week, this month, and the worst part? Many experts are saying this is just the beginning of what we can expect in the coming years. When we talk about a heat wave, most people think about uncomfortable weather, maybe some days when it's too hot to go outside. But what Europe is experiencing right now goes far beyond discomfort. We're talking about temperatures exceeding 120 degrees Fahrenheit in some regions. Cities that have never seen such heat are now breaking daily temperature records. Countries that were supposed to be safe havens from extreme weather are now becoming danger zones where simply being outside can be life-threatening. Let me paint you a picture of what's actually happening on the ground. Across Spain, Portugal, Greece, Italy, and France, wildfires are raging out of control. These aren't small brush fires that get contained quickly. These are massive infernos that are consuming entire forests, destroying homes, and forcing hundreds of thousands of people to evacuate their communities. In some cases, the heat has become so intense that it's creating its own weather systems, generating fire tornadoes that are even more destructive than the original flames. The human toll of this crisis is staggering. Emergency rooms across Europe are overflowing with patients suffering from heat stroke, dehydration, and heat exhaustion. But the real tragedy is that many of the victims are among our most vulnerable populations. The elderly, the poor, those without access to air conditioning, and people living alone are dying at alarming rates. We've seen reports of hundreds of deaths directly attributed to the heat, but the real number is likely much higher when you factor in indirect causes. People are dying in their homes, in the streets, in hospitals that are overwhelmed and understaffed. This heat wave isn't just killing people directly through extreme heat exposure. It's triggering a cascade of secondary disasters. Droughts are destroying crops and livestock, threatening food security across the continent. Water supplies are running dangerously low in some regions, with reservoirs dropping to levels not seen in decades. Rivers that have flowed for centuries are drying up completely. Hydroelectric power plants that depend on water flow are struggling to generate electricity, leading to energy crises in several countries. Some regions are implementing rolling blackouts, adding another layer of danger during this extreme heat event. The economic impact is staggering as well. Agriculture across Europe is suffering enormous losses. Crops are withering in the fields before they can be harvested. Livestock farmers are watching their animals die from the heat. Wine regions that have produced world-class wines for generations are seeing their vineyards destroyed. Tourism, a major economic driver for many European countries, is collapsing as people stay indoors to avoid the deadly heat. Insurance companies are facing claims they never anticipated, and some are warning that the damage from this single event could cost hundreds of billions of dollars. But here's what really gets me, and what I think should concern all of us deeply. This is becoming our new normal. Scientists who study climate patterns are telling us that these events aren't anomalies anymore. They're not once-in-a-century events. They're the result of a fundamental shift in our planet's climate system. The warming trend we've been warned about for decades isn't some future threat. It's here, it's now, and it's accelerating faster than most models predicted. The connection between human-caused climate change and these extreme heat waves is now beyond scientific debate. The burning of fossil fuels, deforestation, Industrial agriculture and countless other human activities are trapping heat in our atmosphere. That heat has to go somewhere, and increasingly it's creating weather patterns that are becoming more extreme, more frequent, and more dangerous. What we're seeing in Europe right now is a preview of what climate scientists have been warning about. And here's something that I think makes this even more urgent. Europe is one of the wealthiest, most developed regions in the world. If Europe is burning, if their infrastructure is failing, if their economies are being devastated, what does that mean for the rest of the world? What does it mean for developing nations that have fewer resources to adapt and respond? This heat wave isn't just a European problem. It's a global warning sign that we're running out of time to make fundamental changes. The governments of Europe are starting to respond, but many people are saying it's too little, too late. Some regions are opening cooling centers for people without air conditioning. Others are relaxing regulations to increase emergency power generation. But these are band-aids on a much larger wound. Real solutions require systemic change. We need massive investments in renewable energy to move away from fossil fuels. We need to protect and restore forests, which act as carbon sinks and help regulate climate. We need to transform our agricultural systems to be more sustainable. And we need to do it now. Not in 5 years, not in 10 years, but immediately. What strikes me most about this crisis is the human dimension. Behind every statistic, every report about deaths and economic losses, there are real people whose lives are being turned upside down. There are grandmothers who are afraid to leave their homes because the heat is too dangerous. There are farmers watching their life's work disappear in a drought. There are families who've lost everything to wildfires. There are children growing up in a world that's fundamentally different from the world their parents grew up in. This is where the emotional reality of the climate crisis becomes impossible to ignore. Climate change isn't just about polar bears and melting ice caps, though those are important. It's about our neighbors, our communities, our shared human experience. When we see images of heat-stricken Europeans suffering through record-breaking temperatures, we're seeing a glimpse of what climate change means on a human level. And I think that's why this moment is so critical. We're at a point where we can no longer pretend this is someone else's problem or something we'll deal with later. The heat wave in Europe is a wake-up call for all of us. Every single person on this planet needs to understand that our choices matter. The energy we consume, the products we buy, the way we live our lives, all of it contributes to either accelerating or slowing down climate change. If you're watching this and you're feeling overwhelmed or anxious about what's happening, I want you to know that those feelings are completely valid. But I also want to encourage you not to fall into despair. Yes, the situation is serious. Yes, we're facing real challenges. But we also have solutions. We have the technology right now to transition away from fossil fuels. We have the knowledge to live more sustainably. What we need is the political will and the collective action to make it happen. That's where you come in. If you're watching this, you're part of the solution. By educating yourself about these issues, by making conscious choices about your consumption and lifestyle, by supporting policies and politicians that prioritize climate action, and by spreading awareness to others, you're contributing to the change we need. This isn't about individual sacrifice or guilt. It's about recognizing that we're all in this together, and we all have a role to play. So I'm asking you right now, please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. We're committed to bringing you the latest information about climate issues, environmental crises, and solutions that are actually working. By subscribing, you'll be part of a community of people who care about our planet and who are committed to understanding and addressing these critical challenges. Turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of our videos, and please share this content with others who need to hear the heat wave in Europe is a tragedy, but it's also a catalyst for change. It's showing us what we're capable of losing if we don't act. But it's also showing us the urgency and importance of taking action now. The next few years will determine whether we can still prevent the worst impacts of climate change or whether we're locked into a future of escalating environmental disasters. This is our moment. This is our challenge, and this is our opportunity to build a better future for ourselves and for generations to come. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.